Cadmium Dread.
Okay. Went two different directions with that one. Welcome to Cadmium Dread.
With your host, Mimi Nguyen.
And Joshua Karenka.
And this is a podcast about artists in the entertainment industry, like video games and animation and
Film and TV.
Film and TV.
Whatever, man.
Yes. And we bring on guests onto the show, and they are also artists, and they just talk about what they've been through and how they got to where they're going. And yeah, hopefully you can learn something from it and maybe
Relate.
Mm-hmm.
Or live vicariously through.
It's hard being an artist.
It is.
It's good to find things to relate to.
And this week's episode, we have Andre Mina.
Hello, Andre.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, jeez. I was waiting to see how you would introduce.
I'm very excited to be here, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming.
You have a very good radio voice. You're like switched into this mode.
Really?
You see? It's a fake laugh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god.
I think Andre should introduce us.
Yeah. Let's hear the Andre introduction.
Cadmium Dread.
There we go.
Welcome to another episode. You know it. You love it. This is Joshua Karenka. He's always cranking it up with his puns.
There it is.
And then there's Mimi, a.k.a. Cho. And
Pretty
the
good.
Vietnamese wonder. She'll surprise you. She'll attack you in your sleep. That's her in a nutshell.
All right.
Very good.
All right. I like that intro.
Very good.
It's
Very
much better.
accurate.
Cadmium Dread.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. I've already lost the plot. What were we talking about? What were we gonna talk about?
Well, Andre is an artist.
Yes, he is. And
Liars.
like many of our guests, take a guess. Where is he from? See, this is probably gonna be Machine Zone of San Jose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, today it's a Machine Zone alumni.
Machine Zone alumni.
Yeah. Survivor.
Survive.
Whatever you want to call it. Veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I met Andre working at Machine Zone. Joined our team when we started up on Final Fantasy, and from there, a bond of brotherhood, kind of like what happens in wartime, I'm sure,
Yes.
was formed, and yada yada yada. And now we're here talking on a podcast.
Mhm.
I'll let Andre fill in the yada yadas later,
Sure.
and probably before the yada yadas.
Yeah. I want to know. I want you to take us back in time.
Gonna go back in time. Sorry, you can cut that out if you want.
Sorry, I fused it.
I want to know how you got into art
Mm.
and how that evolved into your career.
Well, when the last dragon fell,
Mhm.
I looked at the stars and asked why.
What century was this?
What? Well, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that. I'm just gonna warn you straight up. I come from a land, a time long ago, and like no one really believes me, but like I tell stories anyway, and like you just take it as you want. But yeah, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to the beginning.
He's not bullshitting you, by the way. He does this all the time. Before I knew Andre that well, I was trying to like find out more about you, and you came up with this bonkers story.
I didn't come up with anything.
I mean, sorry,
Yeah,
you
I
told
think
me this bonkers story about
He said
you
it's
from
true,
reality
so
Yes.
I don't know what you're confused
about
about.
defending the Earth. Anyways, I'll let you get to it.
Well, that's how I met the space princess.
Yeah, we'll get to the Space Princess later, right?
Possibly.
Okay.
So okay, the beginning. I don't know.
When did you first awaken to art?
Awaken to art? I'm trying to think of a time before freaking anime or something like that. And
time
because
before
there was a
anime.
time where like there was doodles, there's like watching Disney movies and whatnot, and being inspired with any kind of cartoon. But I think it was the introduction of anime that really fueled my artistic fire. And there's actually stuff that predates like Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball probably was the ultimate one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. And but before that, like there's three like animes in which like I didn't even know what they were. Like I just happened to catch them wherever I saw it. The first one was Guyver.
Oh,
The
fuck
Guyver.
yeah!
Yes, yeah. Josh totally knows about it.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like it kind of blew my mind. It's like one of my first times seeing like some suited up like dark hero thing, and he's taking on aliens, he's ripping them in half, and it's like super cool, and he's transforming, he's like a student. I'm like, I'm a student. And there was this show that I caught randomly, like at 6:30 in the morning or something. One time I woke up as a kid and got like an early bowl of cereal because couldn't go back to sleep or whatever. Turned on the TV, and I caught this show. It was called Ronin Warriors.
Oh, Ronin Warriors.
Yeah, and like it blew my mind because it was one of the first animated shows that like had more of a storyline. There wasn't the defeat the bad guy of the week
Monster
type
of
of
the
thing,
week,
the monster of the week, and like there's this group of like weird super samurai teenagers that were like taking over Tokyo by this evil demon, and everything was dark and crazy, and it wasn't the first time I saw one of the bad guys like slowly become like the good guy, and I was like, my mind was blown. I was super blown. I mean, I can just talk about Ronin Warriors like all day, but and there's one more. I discovered it around the same time and same way. It was like it's some weird time during the day. It was always some weird channel, in like some weird hour, and it was a show called. The American name is Techno Man.
Techno Man.
But the Japanese name is Tekkaman. Yeah.
I don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of ringing a bell. I think my
Is
brother
it?
might have watched this
Really?
show.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude,
This is
he
part
had
of
the sickest
show where I look up
armor.
stuff on my phone.
I saw it, and the cool factor was off the charts for me. And like he has this cool dude who also fights aliens. He uses this crystal, and he's like Tech Setter, and like he just transforms into this awesome space knight thing. Later, I found out it was like a Tatsunoko production character that was kind of remade, and I was so moved by the visuals, like I would like pause
This guy?
the show. Yes, oh,
Looks so
I
fucking
knew
sick.
it.
Just
Yeah,
so
my
sick
brother
looking.
definitely watched
Super
that
sick.
show.
he has angles, and like he had this
Yeah.
posture about him, and like he was
That
oh
fucking
gosh.
wide stance.
Yeah, the white. He always had
Yeah.
a white
I
stance.
remember my brother did like an art contest for the show or something. He like submitted a piece of artwork into like this magazine or something.
You
That's
serious?
cool.
I mean, I don't remember what happened, what came from it, but I just remember seeing like that print lying around
Mhm.
that he made of it.
And all like the bad guys and stuff like that. All the designs in the show are really really cool. I would trace like the TV with a big old piece of paper or something like that. I was like,
Really?
I was like, what?
The TV itself?
Yeah, the TV itself. Well, I had
Nice.
there was like a small one that we had, and
Oh, okay.
it helped out.
Just like I
But,
can imagine trying to like on the curve like CRT.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, or
Gets all
I would-
staticky.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it-
Yeah, it
that's
was
how the
like-
paper sticks to the screen.
Cause I end up like,
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
yeah.
Kids listen to this won't know what we're talking about.
Oh. It's true. It's very true. And so, drawing like Tekka Man and like Guyver and stuff like that. And I didn't really draw any Ronin Warriors, but like it still moved me. And then came Dragon Ball, and I remember I'll never forget the first day where I saw it, and it was like I woke up a little too early. It's always like a weird like waking up thing, and I
Because
came.
it's all like
I was,
Saturday morning stuff, isn't it?
at my dad's house, and my sister and him are up and already doing morning things, and my sister was watching a cartoon, and like at the time like I always judged my sister's like tastes in cartoons. Always like made fun of them. And like, what are you watching now? Like I was a cartoon snob, a connoisseur.
Yeah.
But I sat down, I was watching it, and like it was a fight between Goku and Raditz.
Right.
And like Goku and Piccolo versus Raditz.
Like right at
And,
the beginning.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, what is happening? What is happening? And like they're having this crazy dialogue. Like as soon as I like jumped into it, like Piccolo's arm was already ripped off or something. He's already bleeding. He's like, no, hold him down, Goku, or something like that. And Goku's trying to do his thing. Yeah. Yeah, Goku's holding him down, and I'm like, oh snap, oh my gosh, what's going on? What's he gonna do? And how is he gonna move out of the way in time? He's like, oh, I'm charging it up. This move was originally meant for you. I'm like, oh my gosh, story elements? What is this? Like, I don't know what's going on, right? And
A very similar experience, not knowing the original Dragon Ball when I already discovered Dragon Ball Z. I was like, what are you talking? These guys have like history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he shot it. He shot his special beam cannon. And I thought Goku was gonna move out of the way, do something crazy.
Right. He's the main character.
Yeah, he's the main character. But he couldn't, or something, because it's too awesome, or he had to hold him down.
He just had to hold him down.
He had to hold him down. And so the beam went right through both characters, some baddie and the main character, the main guy. I'm like, and I lost it. I was just in love immediately. I had no idea what I was watching.
Yeah.
But then I went out of my way to like do and find anything Dragon Ball, and it's really hard at that point in time. We'll say that there's not a lot of interneting happening
Yeah.
at that time, and
Did you guys have like a local like kind of anime store?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Yes, we had one too.
No. No,
It's
I
like
didn't.
it's where you would get like the latest anime and like keychains
That
and
place,
stickers
I would
and
want to
manga.
spend
Yeah.
as much time as I want there. I'd never get anything because my parents wouldn't give me the money to buy anything from there because it was too expensive.
Ours was called Howie's. Shout
trying
out
to remember what it was
Howie's
called.
in
That sounds familiar.
Milpitas.
Oh.
Milpitas, huh?
Milpitas, yeah.
There was one right there on Broadway
Milpitas.
in Burlingame.
Mhm.
And trying to remember the trying to remember the name of it, but man, it was just a mecca of like all that nerdy weeby shit.
Mhm, mhm.
Like I can't imagine how it existed that long in Burlingame at a time where nobody knew what the
I
fuck
know,
any of that
that's
stuff
crazy.
was.
And finding any information at all about like Dragon Ball, it was really hard. It was really difficult, and I was confused. I thought like Super Saiyan Goku and Goku were two different people. I would see pictures of blonde people. And I'm like, oh wow, they have a huge cast. They all wearing the same thing, and
stuff from later that isn't airing yet.
mhm.
So you would be like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Oh yeah, and the whole
because the thing is, like, we would always in the States get it last. Latin America would always get it before us. So I was in Argentina once, and I started seeing stuff about GT way before GT was like even like
Wow.
Yes.
known of in the U.S. or at least in my circles pre internet blowing up, right?
Mhm.
I was just like, wow, like these like Super Saiyan 4 versions of
my
Goku and
gosh.
Vegeta. I'm like,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm going nuts,
Yeah.
wondering if it was even like real,
Mhm.
because I'm like, I'm in Argentina, who knows?
Oh, dude, that like speaking of the show and getting everything last and stuff like that. I watched the show on at the time the network was called KCAL 9 in SoCal, and you can tell they only had so many episodes. Like I've watched the same arc, where like Raditz come to Earth, whatever, like 20 times
Over
because
and over,
like
yeah.
and they would go to like and they would go like a little bit further than they did before, and then go all the way back. They're starting over
Oh.
again. They did it so many times for so many years. It was it's very frustrating until it was like eventually it was on like way after the fact on like Toonami or something
Yeah.
like that. And by that point I was already like leagues ahead. I was already like watching Dragon Ball movies and
Didn't
stuff
see
like
it
that. I
until
was buying
Toonami.
stuff from like people and stuff like that, and I dove deep.
Oh yeah.
Committed to the Japanese language only. I'm like subtitles. I became a subtitles guy.
Oh, can't do
100%.
those. Can't do those
Like
with
I
Dragon
like
Ball.
as soon as I could, I just ditched the English voices and I'm like, peace out. that's him charging up.
I'm just used to the English voices thanks to
Yeah.
Toonami.
Well, I definitely have nostalgia with the English voices. Don't get me wrong. Like that's where it began, right?
Kakarot.
Yeah, Vegeta by far
Yeah.
one of the best voices in there, and Piccolo probably.
Vegeta and Piccolo had great voice actors.
Yeah. Dragon Ball inspired so much. Like I drew it so much. I drew it so much in high school. I drew it so much in like I drew it on my tests, homework. Like if I knew I was gonna fail that test because I didn't know anything, I drew a fat mural of Goku on the page, and like I'll get comments on it too. So like, yeah, but nice drawing. And and it made me want to become. Actually, that's not true. The art was definitely like a secondary thing. I thought I was gonna be like a baseball player or something like that. I thought I was gonna play sports for the rest of my life. I'm a very competitive dude. I love sports. I love being active. But I don't know. During high school, I feel like my parents. I don't want to put them on blast, but maybe they did, maybe they did. I can't remember, but I feel like they never sat me down and truly was like, okay, you're gonna reach a point where you gotta figure some shit out, like what do you want to do? Because I thought like I don't know, I just had like a weird flow. Like I was always in some kind of like little league or something like that. I was playing sports. And I was like, I'm gonna play baseball in high school or something. And then that didn't work out. So this all matters as far as the art thing.
Yeah.
Because like going through school thinking, like you're gonna do one thing and then completely get the door slammed in your face because like you didn't train every day since you were like 4 super hard, in this one thing. Like you're not gonna make it out in the the pros.
Mhm.
And I like became ineligible to play like baseball when it came around because like my first year of grades was his ass, I guess. And I had a choice at the time, like, oh, you can do like loser PE, or you can train with the basketball team in the off season. And then I chose basketball. Just gonna wrap that up and say, when all was done, it was time to graduate. Like I was left with very little choices, and at the time, like there was like advertisements, and like I think some family members even like were looking out for me and like saw some stuff and like clips from, I don't know, magazines or something like that about the Art Institute, and it was kind of close by. If I was gonna do it, I have to do it like pretty soon because like the quarter was gonna start like
Deadline,
immediately,
yeah.
and I can jump on it immediately if I wanted to. The option was there. My parents were gonna give me the option. Because I drew as like a hobby, as a thing on the side, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I didn't know if I wanted to go straight into more school, because like high school was the worst thing ever, right? And you want to go straight into more school, like not even a break. Like I would literally have like maybe, I don't know, like a couple months. I had a long railroad track walk with one of my best friends, and we just kind
Sounds
of,
like a movie.
it was super movie-like.
You walked along the track?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
how nice.
we walked along the tracks.
In
and-
like golden sunset.
Oh yeah, definitely
Kind
the
of.
sunset went straight in the night for sure, because we kept on going like further than we ever have. I think we even like came across like a creek thing and like threw some rocks in it. It was beautiful, and like he helped like convince me that like I should go this route. I should like be like an art person and
An art person.
An art
So
person.
did art, like, was it ever in the back of your mind like an option up until that point?
Nope. Not even remotely close. But as soon as it like kind of was, as soon as it like the concept entered my mind and like that, like, yeah, this life is gonna become a possibility, then a bunch of like hopes and dreams like just shot in there. And like, and I took what I like loved about like Dragon Ball and stuff like that, and I'm like, I want to become an animator. That was my goal. Like I wanted to animate those scenes that like moved my heart, my soul, and like made me tear up because they're so sick.
Yeah.
And like, and that's what I wanted to do. That was my dream, was become an animator, a 2-dimensional animator. And so yeah, I signed up for this school, and and then the world got really real right off the bat.
I'm sure.
So yeah, that's like the true beginnings of like why
Why you're
I
an art
become
person.
why I'm an art person today.
Yeah.
And it's mostly Dragon Ball Z.
Thanks, Dragon Ball Z.
That's
Thanks,
a very
Dragon Ball
Thanks,
common
Goku.
common story.
I know, right? It's a little too
Yeah.
common.
No.
Kind of sad, but not really. I just love how powerful Dragon Ball is,
Yeah.
and like it's
I mean,
amazing.
you're definitely not the first guest to say this.
Well, that's good, actually. Yeah, I'm actually glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Relatable.
My school at the time was very experimental because even though the corn nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're powerful.
Yeah, I gotta say, for the listeners, we ate like 3 pieces of corn nut that's like habanero flavored,
Yeah.
and it's just sitting there in the back of my throat.
Yeah.
Actually,
Like burning away.
My lips still hurt. I licked my lips a little. They actually really hurt.
I'm pretty weak sauce when it comes to spicy food.
Oh.
My throat's just, yeah. Yeah, like our school was, even though the brand name, or the school has been around, the Orange County version was newly opened, and so they were short on everything. Like I had the same teacher for multiple classes and multiple subjects, even if they weren't experts in it. They're like, all right, well,
Did they like change outfits and stuff?
That'd be amazing.
That would have been amazing, but they did not. So the beginning, I was there like for the very beginning, and so we were just test subjects. I was like part of like it's like Resident Evil or something like that, the very early stages of the T virus, and I had a very interesting time. I met some of my best friends that I still hang out with today, still talk to today. If that school has done anything for me, is those people, and I think that's what school might do in general, because you don't need to go to art school for art. That's for damn sure. Okay, there's significant moments. There's the moment where like my 2D animation dreams died.
Oh no.
Right, because I was pretty stoked. I was pretty motivated. A lot of people who started the school like ended up dropping out. A lot of like maybe little acquaintances or friends in the beginning. stages, like I never saw them again because it was really hard. It was really hard, and like the class was a lot harder than everyone thought. Everyone goes in being like, oh, I'm gonna be this artist, and like they're super sure of it. And there's so all this hope in their eyes, and I saw them drop like flies. And like in the tuition, it's these trade schools or whatever, they're really expensive, so you really have to like you gotta commit to it. I tried really hard when it came down to like 2D animation class, and I feel like I did pretty well at the time, and still to this day. Like I still don't know how to like no one anywhere can tell me how 2D animation is done. I don't get it. How do you get from these crappy drawings to this like super crisp, clean, colorful? Oh, I'm an arrow.
Oh, the corn nuts. That was a bad idea.
So sorry, guys.
No,
I should have waited for afterwards.
There's this little guy just hanging out, like just every now and then it's punching my throat. Excuse me.
It's okay. This is what editing is for, right?
Um,
Or would you leave this in?
Note to self: don't give our guests habanero.
No, I'm just weak. I'm just weak sauce.
I'm just glad I don't have to talk right now because I'm still suffering.
The process, yeah, it was. I wanted someone there to teach me the secrets. And
That's what you would
like,
hope
how do you like?
you
What's
would
the
get.
order of operations, right? And
Yeah.
like everyone just said, like, yeah, you draw a thing, and the cleanup artist comes in, and then yeah, it gets painted, and then it's done. I'm like, wait, what? No. And so no one can tell me. No one was like, in my opinion, good enough. Even I had some old school like animators there, like worked on like Pink Panther or something like that. Like a little too old school, and I needed some of that new school tech.
Yeah.
You mean some of that anime, but of course no one in America can even come close to the anime
No.
stuff, right?
They try,
And,
but they can't.
Yeah, these definitely
Even
can't.
nowadays.
Even now, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I did all that. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna skip forward in time, and where this is around the time where like I think Pixar and stuff like that movies started to really take off, and like the world of like 3D is taking over. And
It's the new hotness.
And I think even then Disney had like fired fired all their 2D animators.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
and like it was a big debacle, and like there's like a whole bunch of like stacks of light tables, animated tables like outside of a thing, all like ready to be thrown away and stuff
That's
like that.
so
It was
depressing.
super
to think
sad,
About.
and so the school thought it would be cool to like help the students be like, well, I'm gonna prepare them for a future of no 2D, right?
Right. Yeah.
And stupid decision. So they started to like force students. They had no interest in like 3D stuff, even though it'll be good to know. Obviously, this would be great to know, like whatever for games stuff like that. But if you weren't like passionate about it at all, like it's good to like play to your strengths and like go for it hardcore, so you can actually be that thing. And they were just the school forced me into 3D, and I just wasn't clicking with 3D anything. I couldn't handle the interface. It was very just technical, and like it just was rubbing me all the wrong way. Even though I liked a lot of 3D stuff, but like I just just wasn't feeling it. It was all about the 2D stuff, and I was passionate about it. And so when they were trying to do this, I was getting super hipster, I was super defiant. I was like, and at this point, like I'm already like, I was reaching like a seniority level in the school too. Like I felt like I owned the school, and like I fought as hard as I could, and I was really down and out. Like I thought like the future was was bleak, and I was losing some inspiration because I'm like, what am I doing this for? This is stupid. And until as a teacher,
okay.
a new teacher that had arrived. I'm gonna call him Marlo, and Marlo introduced a whole new world to a lot of 2D people there, and he came in with like cool projects and cool ideas and like fun exercises. All the teachers there, it sucks because like I didn't give a lot of the teachers there a chance because I wanted the new stuff. I was like younger, so I was like into like anime and like anything cool. I want to be fucking cool, right? And like and he'll say stuff like, "Hey, redesign Pinocchio" or something, right? And, it's probably not a bad exercise, but I'm like, man, it was just wasn't into it, right? But this guy's coming along and it's like, all right, now design a Warcraft 3 unit, like I want you to design the new like it needs to have like this function, blah 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 blah. I want like these angles, and like I want you to come up with like the story, like I want you to like do 2 characters, one wizard, one like goblin knight or something, like you just hit us with like that sound is like a jizzing in the pants sound if you hear it. So like it's an expression of like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And
Artgasm.
nice.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
TM.
That's a pleasant way to say it. And so that class I had already taken or whatever, like a year or two ago or something like that. But I was super sad, and I was like, well, I want to learn with this guy. And so I went and I sat in the class, and I guess a number of people actually did. His classes were packed, but he had an ultimatum. He said, if you're gonna sit in my class, you got to do the work. Like, you got to treat it like this is an actual class. And some people kind of left, some people stayed. I stayed. I always stayed with a friend of mine. And so took his class, squeezed it in with the full curriculum of classes already, but still this meant something at the time.
Yeah.
And we got into groups, or actually I think he assigned them groups. He just kind of took sections of the classroom, bundled them together, and when he got to me and my friend, he actually just put us two in a group, and he assigned everyone like a country type of thing, and a theme, like a fantasy theme of some sort. And he gave everyone their countries, and we got to us, we got Japan.
Oh yeah.
Right? And so of course I was like and and as soon as that happened, and I started freaking out right in there. I'm like, oh man, okay, that's Japan, Japanese warrior, and so I started losing my shit with my buddy, was just riffing, getting excited, getting pumped. We didn't go home till really late that night. We stayed at school, being like, oh yeah, and then he's gonna have this arm, and it's gonna freaking transform, and it's yeah, he's Japanese dude. I'm gonna name him Yosuke, because I knew my first Japanese dude I ever met. His name was Yosuke. I'm like, yeah. High five, and then it came down to the last stretch, and then the last week or whatever, he said, he just kind of hit us with a curveball. He said, all right, next week we're gonna critique everyone's work, but I'm bringing in a couple dudes from the industry, and he's one dude's from Blizzard, one dude's from I don't know, somewhere else. I don't know who they were, and as soon as he said that, everyone, you can tell everyone was freaking out. Everyone's sweating, staring off into space, thinking about their life, and thinking about what they've been doing as far as their work is concerned. And this was probably the first time in all the years that I've been at the school. I think it's maybe the third year in this 4-year school or whatever. That a project or whatever had moved me, that I was super stoked about, because the whole time I was trying to get through the classes, trying to get through, not fail, and this one really grabbed me, and I wanted to try hard. And I remember that day, I tried to work on my piece, and I was a noob at Photoshop. I remember for the last day, I went over to my buddy's house. We worked on our pieces together, and kind of trying to give ourselves, each other feedback and whatnot. He had this kind of sweet dude, I'm like, he's insane. He this man, his name is Tyler James, by the way, and he's also in the industry, and you can find his work. He's into demons, and he's all about drawing demons. He's cool guy. Became one of my good friends during school. He decided to throw in a horse in his picture, which is, I think he regretted it, but he did it anyway. And there's this crazy dude on a horse, and has the magic. There's a lantern involved. I don't know. He went to town, and my dude was so classic. He was so stereotypical. He had white hair. He it was down on his face. He looked like a badass. He had one decked out I don't even know, magical arm, right? And he was holding a dove or something. And he had these crazy kind of Hakama pants. Just Japanese looking. He had this torn up gi looking thing, and there's designs on it and all that jazz, and there's put effects, and I don't know, he was kind of buff. I forget exactly what he had going on, but to me that's probably the coolest thing I could probably think of, and at the time, Yosuke. And
what is this dove's name?
I don't know. The dove took forever, and I could not get it right. And but we stayed up almost all night, and I was still up in his home, still working on it, and he left because he said, okay, I have a morning class I gotta go to, and then I'll meet you during the presentation or whatever. He wanted to get a little boombox and have a Japanese music playing while we gave our presentation. And at the time, I never told him, but I always thought it was so cheesy, so cringeworthy, and I didn't want to do it, but I didn't say anything. And so he left for school, and I was in his house. It was really awkward. His mom came around and sees a stranger in his room, like like working on stuff. I haven't slept.
Right.
And I'm like, oh hi, Mrs. Whatever, and but anyways, I finished to the best of my ability. I went home and I tried to sleep. At this point, it was already like 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something. I'm like cracked out of my mind. I had to go to school a little earlier. Had to get it printed. Had to print it out.
Oh yeah.
And like, or maybe I printed it at his house because he had a nice printer and he had all the cool stuff. And when it came down to it, like the class was packed. It was full of a bunch of people, even more people than like the room can actually kind of fit. It was crazy. Everyone wanted to see all the finished, products. Everyone wanted to see this new, like, the people looking at it. Who are these people? These industry people. And the whole time I was just sweating bullets. Yeah, I remember Tyler comes around. I was like, oh man, I can't find I need new batteries for the boombox. I'm like, oh, that sucks, man.
Meanwhile, you'd thrown them as far as you could.
Yeah. Like, well. That's what I sounded like too back in the day. I was like, oh, my name's Andre. Sucks, man.
That's young Andre?
Yeah, it's young Andre. And and then he's like running around trying to find batteries. I'm like, just forget about the batteries, And I'm like, I had like this sigh of relief. I'm like, oh god, he's not gonna forget the music. He's not gonna play the music. And then he comes out of nowhere, super excited, super ecstatic. He's like, Andre, I got the batteries. I'm like, oh, yeah.
You're pretending excited.
Yeah. And so people give them their presentations, they're showing their stuff, and I'm like looking at everyone's work. I'm like, oh man, oh god, I'm freaking out. And I remember we're gonna go up like next or whatever, and like we're last. Of course we're last.
Oh god,
and,
that's the worst.
Yeah. And I'm like, Tyler, I can't even form a sentence right now. You're gonna have to talk because I can't. But he's like, okay, all right, okay. I'm like, okay. I haven't played with the mic, so
a little bit of voice acting.
Yeah, it was really good.
Some of those like anime like Mimi visibly recoiled.
So it was time. Sorry, this is a pinnacle point.
I
So
know.
That's why the story's happening.
I'm so drawn into
Yeah,
the story
I know,
right
me
now.
too.
Okay.
I'm in it.
So it is now time. It's now time to present. And we went up, and there's just a bunch of people in this room, and like have the dudes like just right there in front of us. I'm like, oh man, it's happening. And then, bam, boombox set up.
Oh jeez.
Front row, click, play. Yo, and like it's
Yeah.
I'm like it was like you're in the bamboo forest meditating,
Right.
like waiting for that one leaf to fall from the tree. So, yep. Thank you, Josh. And I'm like, oh god, he hit the button. Okay, it's going, and like he's doing it. He's delivering, the music. I'm like, I remember feeling this crazy like guttural feeling because I'm like, oh my god, the music is working. The music sounds great right now, and no one else did music. And like he's selling it. This is Yosuke. He comes from this place, whatever, blah blah blah. He's got his arm, he's tormented with the thing, blah blah blah. And it like when he wants to, it shifts. The orb shifts through his body and becomes different armor bits. And like he's going off and he's talking about his character, talking about my character. I'm like, yeah, what he said. This is Andre. Is what I sound like. And it sucks because like I wish I said something, but like I honestly
Could
couldn't.
have at least
like,
talked about the dove.
the dove, and the whole time he's talking, like they're like getting in kind of close, they're like one of the dudes like, oh okay, trying to analyze it, really break it down, all these noob drawings,
Yeah.
and new paintings, and I couldn't talk if I wanted to. I felt like some like, can you help me out?
I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say.
Catatonic?
Like yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, like I'm like kind of like
Mimi's gadget on.
I can hear and see everything,
Uh-huh.
or experience things, but like I can't move.
Right.
I'm like,
It's like some sort of nightmare.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I'm like, oh, I'm like drooling myself, and he finishes it, like he freaking hits stop. Whoa, that's a stop button and a half, and got an applause, and then now is the time for like the people, the critiquers to speak,
Yeah.
and at the time, like I wish I could remember all the things that they said, but like I remember them saying all these sweet ass compliments
Oh
about
wow.
the work,
Nice.
saying some really cool things. like I remember shaking their hands and like they said, oh yeah, good job, blah 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 blah. And they asked me questions, asking us questions about like our choices or whatever, why we did what we did. And people at the time were like, oh man, that was pretty sick. Oh, murmurs. But like it was like directly after it, like seriously is somewhat of a blur, because like it felt so good. It felt so amazing. Like whatever this was, the whole time I was at school, like never have I felt this way about like an art moment,
Yeah.
And like when it was all said and done, because it was a journey. Like I was like so tired, and I was like so excited. My body's like
all nighter too.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I might as well have drunk like 5 Thai iced teas or something like that in a row. Because like I was both like just out of it. Like I feel like I crashed, but like I had a super high. And I remember the drive home. I was like roaring. I was screaming in my vehicle. I was like, like I was so happy. I was so excited. I started crying.
Oh.
I was crying, and I was like so happy. Like that moment went down the way it did. And it was like I got over. I did it. I felt like a sense of accomplishment that I'm almost getting kind of real for a second.
Ooh.
The water ducts are pumping, and like it was so emotional. It was so gratifying, and the drive home was intense. And like I was getting myself like weird cry, like pep talks, like a weird cry voice, like you're gonna do it, and no one's gonna stop you, and your dreams are gonna happen. And like, dude, it was
That's
gosh,
amazing.
it was so good.
Incredible.
It felt so incredible, and that's when I knew I'm like I want to do that. I want to be a concept artist.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I can't. The animation dream seems to be dead, even though it's totally not. It's totally thriving. Like today, I feel like it's totally like jobs and stuff, and I'm really angry about it. And
What you gonna
but yeah,
do? Learn how to animate.
and so yeah, that was like a pinnacle point in like becoming or learning of like what I really wanted to do as far as art was concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a love for animation, and I still like I feel like I have somewhat of a if I were to tip my own hat, like I feel like there's some kind of affinity I have for like animation, and because I love it. There's something there that like I feel like I'm connected to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've done animation things, either as effects or whatever. Like I feel like it kind of clicks. It kind of just goes for me without like learning too much about it or like spend that much time with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And kind of saddens me every time it happens because like I always scratch like a surface of it and I'm like, oh man, I wish I knew a little bit more. I wish I was spent more time with this. But I know whatever I'm doing is just gonna dismiss and move on.
Mm.
But even though doesn't need to be the case. I still can do whatever. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
We can do whatever.
You can do anything, man.
do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, that point was a huge point for me.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
That's a good
Whew.
like. Oh, I went on a journey too.
Oh man.
Feel
Man,
like,
our guests lately have been like such storytellers.
right?
And like I just envision like this movie in my head.
Oh yeah.
And
I
just
very
because of-
clearly pictured all of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And yeah, Marlowe was a huge influence at the time. I will give him the credit he deserves.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a teacher.
If we're still continuing with the art,
Yeah.
then
We are continuing with art. That was was that the pinnacle of school?
that was the pinnacle of school.
Okay.
There's a lot of school amazing adventures that had happened,
Oh,
but
of course. There always
as
is.
far as like that high, that artistic green light,
Yeah. Is that the
where you
part?
saw the light.
Yeah, you saw the path
Mhm.
like appear before you.
Absolutely.
Mm.
That was the moment. All my like teachers and stuff like that all give me crap, like Andre, you're gonna fail because
Wow.
like 2D like art is really hard and 3D stuff, but I don't know, it's like equally as hard in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
But
exactly.
like
3D
That's
is
like-
easy.
yeah,
I
but I
think
feel
so.
like maybe
Yeah.
more jobs would be available. I guess is what they're trying to get at. And like
Yeah.
teachers like try to really drill it into me. Maybe they're going for the tough love thing, and because like a lot of teachers there I knew like intimately because there was no one else for the longest time before they got like more staff. Like I just knew these guys,
Yeah.
for years. One like I still love today. Like I wish I could keep in some kind of contact. His name is Mike Tracy. Awesome dude, awesome artist. Besides Marlowe, like he was like super influential because like he was just this badass. He'll take people's art, he'll like flip them upside down, make a better composition. He's like, these guys suck, and and just he has a sweet background, and like he didn't give a shit about the school too. He's like let them try to fire me. I don't give a shit. What are they gonna do?
I feel like that makes sense that you feel an affinity towards this guy.
Gravitate towards someone of that nature.
Maybe he influenced you, or
Wow.
Oh yeah, I immediately I was like, "Are you talking about yourself?"
And, that reminds me. There is a time with Mike Tracy. I'm embarrassed to talk about this, but
No, I want to hear it.
there was a time I had failed one of the classes, right? And I was really offended. I was like, dude, I thought we were cool. I thought we were buds. Like, how can you fail me? My dad had threatened me, like, if I ever failed a class, then he's going to take me out of school. Which I feel like is counterproductive, but, like, he wanted me to take this seriously.
Yeah.
And so, I failed that class, and, like, and there's stories. There's many stories about me hanging on, not failing a class, and I got close many a times. I could not fail. I will not fail.
Yeah.
And so this class was so funny because I jumped through hoops not to fail a class, and of course it comes to this one, and like it was just a thing. It was also a schedule thing. It was like I wasn't getting all the work done. I was leaving it out because like I felt like I was comfortable because I knew the guy. It was a bad decision. I was like, oh, I'll probably be okay. That's what I thought. And he made the tough decision. He's like, Andre, dude, you just didn't do the stuff. Like I got to do it. I have to do it. I'm sorry. And like I was so mad at him. I was super mad. And then of course, yeah, my dad took me out of school like he said he would, and like I'd like I don't know work in the meantime. And I think I watched some dogs. My mom owned a dog shop. But like went back to school and retook the class and happened to be his same class.
Huh.
And so this time around, I decided to
The
take
redemption arc.
Yeah, definitely redemption. And I tried harder. I tried to really take in the stuff he was teaching. At the very end, I remember like he went around the class every last day of whatever the quarter. He asked the class what they had learned, in the class. And he went out to every single student and they'd say out loud. Everyone was giving off these stupid answers and like
I was about to say, it sounds like a lame exercise.
yeah, it was like really lame. It was like, I learned not to break up with your girlfriend in the middle of the lesson or the quarter. And I'm like, dude, no, he's asking a serious question. He was trying to, teach us stuff. He's trying to, like, get some feedback maybe. And the whole time I was getting all, like, uppity and, like, oh,
Your feathers were ruffled.
my feathers were absolutely ruffled. And I'm like, I was getting kind of sweaty. I get sweaty a lot. And, like, I was like, okay, Andre, you're going to say something cool. You're going to say something right. See them, like, get to you. And, of course, one of the last ones. And when it got to me, like, I had this kind of jalopy thing. I was like, well, I learned a lot, and yeah, and like I don't know, I just super sounded stupid, but like you can tell my heart was on my shoulder for a second. And when all said and done, like I got kind of like weird for some reason after the class, like shaking people's hands and like like as they're exiting, and I went like, hey Mike, dude, like what, super sorry, but like the last class, I was wrong. Like I felt like it was weird having this relationship with the teacher.
Yeah.
I'm like, I see what you did there. I see what you did. You did what you had to do, and I'm thankful for it. And so yeah, you're awesome, blah blah blah. And looks side to side and kind of like takes me like by the shoulder, kind of pulls me aside, and then he's like, Andre. He looks me like dead in the eye. He has my hand, like his hand on my shoulder. Ugh, I can cry. And he's like, you're gonna become a powerhouse one day. And like blah 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 blah. Seriously, all the rest was like I don't know what the hell he said. As soon as he said powerhouse, I was like, like just started feeling it, and like and coming from him, who I like respected a lot, kind of just took me aside, and then like I was super moved by it, and that was also like a small little moment. It was like symbolic, I was pulled out of the crowd for a second. And gave me this like sweet advice and like sweet words. So yeah, I want to put that out there for your podcast because like that was an emotional part for me as well. And I'm sad. Makes me sad to this day. Like I couldn't, if I were to see him again, I wouldn't be able to look him in the eye because I failed him so hard. I have failed him so hard that like it would be embarrassing.
Wait, how did you fail him?
Yeah, what do you mean?
I don't know. Worked at Machine Zone.
No.
Like, dude, like,
you
no.
Mean...
I'm a failure of an artist.
No. Oh my. All right.
We're gonna skip to the end. Spoiler alert.
Jeez.
The art journey. This is where it leads. And
You're
the only part where I haven't failed
the
is
journey's
talking
not over.
to you two individuals right now. I get to like have a great time in this nice little apartment that has nice blue curtains. You can't see it. The light's coming through, nice natural light, get like nice light carpet, and makes me feel good inside. And there's little plants, there's little succulents, and like bamboo, and over here in the corner, and like it's probably all you. Pretty sure it's all you. It is all you. Yeah. There's no way in hell it's not. And like, yeah, that's where the journey, that's the perks of the journey that this has taken me, is meeting amazing individuals such as you two.
Aw.
Even though I don't know much about you yet, Mimi,
Mhm.
but you have a good aura about you.
Aw,
And a pleasant smile.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. What's happening?
All right.
But
I don't think you failed
No,
him.
you didn't
Oh,
fail.
no.
We'll get to that. You didn't fail. You were failed.
oh,
Yeah. They failed you,
damn.
and you
I mean-
know I'm right.
Oh man, I will say, like, I will talk the most shit about the Art Institute. That's for damn sure. I will
Yeah.
not hesitate. And there's a reason
There's
why.
no way
like,
you can talk more
you
shit
went out
about
of
it than I've
business.
talked shit about Santa Cruz as an art like path.
Yeah, there's a reason why like that like location no longer exists, and like there's a bunch of scandal with the Art Institute, and like
Really?
and like yeah, there's like the people, they just made this one dude like a crap ton of money, and like he just took it all, and like he has his own golf course, and he's off somewhere, and like the whole thing was student loans and this and that, like yeah, it's all some kind of corrupt BS. But
That's scummy.
yeah, like I learned very little out of that school, and like I feel like it was a big waste of time. And like if I just drew every day, like well, I spent those amount of hours I spent in that school, you know, if I just
If you
spent time
just spent-
drawing in my sketchbook or something, I would have been so much better of an artist.
I feel very, very similarly about my time at Santa Cruz.
Oh my gosh.
If I had just sat there painting instead of going to fucking finishing a 4-year like University of California like
Yes.
curriculum, it would have been a lot better.
I
Yes.
just wish that everyone went to San Jose State University.
After
That's
so
some good
many
stuff.
episodes with like talking with everybody else that you've known from there,
Uh-huh.
me too.
It was a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been there for like whatever 7 years or something.
That's true. That's the
My
trade-off.
my parents probably wouldn't have liked that, but I think it would have been better.
Mhm.
You can't change the past.
Yeah.
Not yet. I'm working on
We'll
it.
find a way.
We're back.
After these commercial breaks. I
After
wish.
these messages. Oh wait, you guys don't know that, huh? You guys are
No.
too young for that.
Hey, I've
Yeah, I know.
I got
you.
I got a gray hair.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I got
We're
one too.
in
I
touch.
showed you guys.
Oh my gosh!
I
Didn't you pull
I
it out
plucked
though?
it out of my head at work. I saw
Oh.
it at work, and I was like, oh my god. I like leaned in real close to the mirror and like moved my head around to make sure it wasn't just like a shiny hair.
Yeah.
And I plucked it out and I like waved it around into
Yeah.
people's faces, and I was like, look at
You
this.
did.
Yeah.
She
I
did.
did.
All of her coworkers.
I left mine in because I'm like, there's no denying.
I have too many big old rogue patch.
But it looks
Excellent.
cool,
It's
man.
so
Doesn't
cool.
look cool.
It's so cool.
Oh, it's kind of weird. It's a weird texture too. It's like it messes with like styling and stuff. It's like the worst. But yeah,
Okay.
if we're going to the career part of it, there's like maybe a year between graduating and like finding my first job. It's
Right.
like super hard.
It is.
And
Yeah.
some friends got a job up here, and like they're originally, well, a couple of them were originally from up here, San Fran, or Bay Area.
Bay Area.
They had got a job at this company, and at the time, definitely not gonna get into it, but like there was a crazy like Romeo and like Juliet BS like relationship thing that I was in.
Ooh.
That like
Were you Romeo or were you Juliet?
oh,
Good question.
that's a great question. I'll mixture of both, maybe. I don't know. That actually like was one of the biggest reasons why I came up here, because like they worked up here, but like I had no interest leaving home in that way, I guess. And plus there's some like decent companies, game companies in SoCal, and I needed to start somewhere, and like they had the thing going. Relationship thing, and like had friends already at this company, so I was like, all right, maybe I'll shoot for it. I'll go for it. 2 birds, 1 stone. And then went through some like interviews, and I got like a entry level job at a company called Gaia Online.
Oh yeah.
Gaia,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was a spectacular company. It was my first taste of the like whatever gaming mobile culture or whatever. And it was early days too. This is early
Mhm.
like before. This is when like mobile stuff is starting to take off. The beginnings of selling like virtual goods, little pixelated things that they're like not even like kilobytes, and they're making like millions of dollars. And so, coming into work, 10:30, everyone's, like, I remember my dad always telling me, he's like, oh yeah, one day, he'd give me crap for like always sleeping in or whatever. It's like, you're gonna have to wake up like at 6 o'clock. You're gonna have to like wear these clothes. You're gonna drive to work. Blah 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 blah.
Not if I'm an artist.
You're gonna go to bed at 9:30 at night or something, And I was just so happy just to rub it like in his face, like I'm going to work in whatever, my shorts and t-shirt, like super late, eating breakfast at 11, 11:30, and then eating lunch at 12:30, and having late nights, early mornings, playing games and doing whatever. Yeah, they brought me on because they were gonna make some kind of like MMO thing out of it. What the company is very hard to describe because it's a forum. It's just like a forum, almost like Reddit,
Gaia,
if you will. And but you have an avatar, and like there's like you just dress up your avatar, and the avatars kind of fuel the forum. And and they have like you can have little fashion shows with your avatar. They have like events and stuff like that. And so the avatars like representing yourself, expressing yourself through the avatar was like a big thing that the site has going for it. And it's like very like kind of anime-esque. It's not esque, it is anime. It is. And these cute little chibi avatars that like they're like basically pixels almost. I came in thinking like, oh man, this is easy. I can do this pixel art or whatever, and like I can like just draw little clothes on these guys and stuff like that. But man, it was so hard. It was the hardest. I was like the worst artist there. And like because like it was just a fine art, just trying like to move these little. The paint was such small resolution, like to make something read in a certain way, like you had to have a certain mindset for it. I was like completely different realm, and I found all the people there were like really amazing. I really got to be myself, and like everyone was cool. After maybe I forget how long I was there actually. There was a recession during the I don't know if
I remember.
2009?
Yes. Yes. During the recession, like all these companies got hit. My company got hit. 50% of the company got fired. And like I was part of that 50%. I found a place. They had me do some other jobs eventually. I did some like animating and whatnot, and Flash, and working on the game that we made, and and that was I had a good time. I'm like, wow, there it is, animation, blah blah blah. Animated some monsters, did some cool. I helped like make the intro to the game, and at the time I worked with this small little dude, one of my favorite people. His name's Alex Ahad, and like his most brilliant imagination I've ever seen in my life. And he was there, and like he is the creator of Skullgirls. If you guys are familiar with that, the fighting game.
Yeah.
He was actually developing the game like while I was working there. He had the early concepts and stuff like that, and like think of his characters, and of course I loved it, and like he loves fighters, and I love fighters. Me and him will help like we animated our own like intro for like the game that we made. The game was so stupid sounding. The game was called because we were trying to like I don't know. We did a bunch of tests and like what would be in for the kids, and like it was called Oh my God.
Fudge.
Yeah, it was like ZOMG or something. It was the name of the game.
It was Z0MG.
Wait.
Do you know this?
No.
Okay. She's like, no, I'm not that. And yeah. It was like elite speed. I don't know if it was. Maybe was it a zero? No, it wasn't. I don't think it was. But our little intro was cool. That's where I met the Space Princess. It is, but it isn't.
It is.
The Space Princess is entirely different story of like different timeline. Yeah, in different galaxy actually. Okay. But because you can't be a space princess if you're not in space.
That's true. No.
So not in this story arc.
Yeah. This is like the offshoot anime where they're in high school for some reason instead of in their fantasy world.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna move along.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because there's a bunch of stuff there. Some points to remember is like during the time where like that's where I messed up my knee, trying to jump over this fountain thing at the workplace.
Was it worth it?
Was it worth it? No. Sorry, I keep on tangenting, but like that's just a big part of Gaia, I guess. Is like because it made it even more so. Like there's nothing. Like I gotta focus on art because I'm running out of things that I'm potentially maybe good at to do.
There was a pro.
Being a pro, which is a silly thought.
The pro athlete dream, the pro taekwondo dream,
or something. Even just things that I'm into. Like
you could be a pro fighting game player. You could still do that.
Yep. I can still do it.
He's looking at the fight sticks right now.
Yeah, very nice. I'm gonna exit Gaia, and from there went to like a nice little unemployment phase, which was interesting because that's when Street Fighter 4 came out,
Ooh.
and like the resurgence of Street Fighter, and
Uh-huh.
like I had to get on that, and it took
See.
a lot of time, and I played it a lot. I was good with almost all the characters in the game, and it got weird. Things almost got weird. I stayed with I lived with my old boss, and he felt kind of bad for firing me. Like, it's not a fire. It's
a
it's
layoff.
a layoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he offered his place. He had his house, and he had these couple rooms kind of open. It was really nice of him. First, I didn't want to take him up on it because it's kind of weird. It was I had to find a place to live. I had to find a new job. At the time, my roommate also left to get work somewhere else. He moved down south.
Mhm.
And so I was already looking for a new place, and then I got laid off, and then I think it was around Christmas time too. I couldn't buy gifts for people or anything. It was a big mess.
Mhm.
And that actually, I went to the same stylist every 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. I went to her again after this whole ordeal,
Mhm.
and she's cutting my hair, and she's like, "Whoa, Andre, what is this?" And then a whole little line of gray hair came out of nowhere.
That's when it showed
And,
up.
that's when it showed up.
Wow.
And she noticed it. She had been cutting my hair for a while, so she would know.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "Oh, I haven't seen this before." And I'm like, "What is it? What do you see? What is that? What's up there? Do I have cancer? What's going on?" And she's pointing out all this gray hair, and I'm like, was this my first stressful moment in my life, where things got real? I'm away from home,
Mhm.
no job, I have to find a place to live.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything during Christmas time, which was weird and humiliating.
Oof.
And I had to deal with all these real life things immediately, and I've never had dealt with it ever in my life. This is my first time. I sucked up all my pride, asked the dude, I'm like, "Hey, can I live with you, man?" And of course, he's super nice. His name's Charles Park.
Huh.
And
Nice.
super nice guy, super awesome dude. Did that, the time came, and I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, okay, I gotta find, because I think I was doing some odd jobs. I did some freelance at the time. I did what I could. I worked with oh yeah, I should talk about the work stuff because that's what we were talking about. With
I mean, it all feeds into each other.
Yeah.
Udon Entertainment.
Udon.
Udon made some all the Street Fighter comics. They do a bunch of stuff production art for companies and stuff like that, and they do art books. And I've been in a couple art books.
Oh, that's right.
I've been in Street Fighter and Darkstalker art books, which is kind of fun, even
Mhm.
though those are the most stressful things ever because I care about those things a lot.
Yeah.
And then I did this crappy art. So and I did some pre-production art for Sucker Punch, that
Ooh.
movie.
Ooh, I
Um,
have
Wait a
the
minute, you have the art book.
Do you really?
I
I wonder if we
do.
have some stuff of yours in there.
It probably won't be in there. I'm pretty sure.
We're gonna look through it though.
'Cause,
just after this.
Because they did commission Udon. I think it's just they just shotgun blasted certain companies and hey, give us some ideas,
Mhm.
and Udon was one of them.
Well, there's
And,
stuff in that book that looks like it was shotgun blasted, so
Oh man. Okay.
it's not the best.
And because I did some stuff I actually liked, and then they came back being like, "No, you gotta make it more slutty. This and that, blah 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 blah." And,
Yeah, makes
think of
sense.
Halloween, what's the store? Something Halloween.
Spirit?
Spirit Halloween.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
think of Spirit Halloween, nurse outfits or this and that, blah blah blah. I'm
That
like,
makes sense that the art
okay.
direction was that way.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
because at the time, yeah, there's the schoolgirl and some assassin chick, some nun, which wasn't in the movie, and I did this kind of sweet nun with these shotguns, and her hair, she had this long hair that acted like a veil, but it was her hair,
Huh.
and she just had this sweet kind of a headband thing. It was I thought it was kind of interesting at the time. I tried pretty hard on making creative things that were both kind of cool but sexy.
Yeah.
And then they just came back and more skin, this and that, and just give her this nurse outfit from this Spirit Halloween,
Oh,
and
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and I had some cool field medic kind of cool kind of
Yeah.
spunky, but
Clothed.
yeah, clothes,
Yeah.
Sexy.
yeah, it was both
tasteful.
sexy but tasteful, you know,
Yeah.
and that's
Not
kind
what
of
they
my
wanted.
jam in the first place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't draw super raunchy stuff. Yeah, I did some stuff with them in the meantime, and then when it hit the fan, that's when, of course, stuff started slowing down, and okay, what am I gonna do again? And again, with my back against the wall, out of nowhere, I had a call, and like I don't even like answer my phone, like, and like for some reason I did this time, and some dude like was like, hey, are you Andre? Blah blah blah. I'm like, this is I don't know, I don't remember his name, but he's a so and so. He's like a recruiter who works at like an agency, and like, and maybe like I was searching for jobs, and maybe my name came up somewhere on some kind of list, some kind of database, applying for or looking at job sites. He was just offering, like, he's like, hey, do you mind if I like kind of look for you type of thing? Like, there's some options or some potentials, and like, do you want me to get back to you? Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And like, I didn't understand anything. It didn't make any sense. I'm like, do I pay for you, or what's going on? What's happening? Why would you do this for me? I'm a stranger. And like just like a few days go by, and I get a call back and be like, hey man, yeah, I found this place, and got you like in there for like this much, and like at the time this is already like $20K more than my last job or something like that. And I'm like, ugh! And I was like, yes, of course, absolutely, whatever, that's insane. And I go and I like interview, and I think obviously it went well, and like it's for like a startup, and before I know it, like all within a week I got a job. I like moved out, I found an apartment, and like I moved in. I remember when I moved in, and I thought the apartment was like looked really cool too, like really smaller than this, and like, but I had all the essentials, and things were like nice. The stove looked nice, the refrigerator looked nice, but it was all compact. I thought it was the most beautiful thing in the world, and I'm like, this is my own place. My own place. And I fell on my knees. And like, and I was like, I got kind of teary-eyed, and like, this is like my first place that was my own, and like, was so moved by like how close I was to like living on the streets or something, and like, I was like, Andre, don't mess this up, don't, just remember this, and then I continued to work at a place called the Red Robot Labs, which made a few games called Life is Crime, Life is Fantasy. They tried to coin Life is because we specialized in location-based gaming, and like we wanted to be like using Google Map technology, like basically game in real life. Basically what Pokemon Go is.
I was about to say like pre-Pokemon Go,
Pre-Pokemon Go,
trying to make it work.
We could have freaking done it. Like, I swear. Okay, that's jumping the gun a little bit, but like, I think Life is Fabulous. It's a fashion game.
I see.
And
Life is Beautiful, based on the movie.
Yeah.
A really depressing game.
Yeah, they really try to do the location based game. And we know what, we did okay. We got a little ahead of ourselves, and like they kind of grew a little too big too fast, and like kind of burnt out. They went for it. They shot for the moon. They shot for the moon. Is that a saying?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Shot for the moon.
Shooting for the moon.
Okay, shoot for the moon, you may hit the mountains or something.
Stars, I
Stars?
think.
Whatever, man.
And like they didn't quite make it, but it was like a 3-year like run or something like that. So like they're on the cusp of like getting over the lip of like sustainability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, but like they just made some iffy decisions, and they should have stuck. Focused on like what was working. Me and like this other dude came up with this Pokemon idea, and like I've had some sweet drawings of it. And like I still like them today, like basically I made my own little Digimon. I'm like, hey, make it like Pokemon, but like we have our own characters. You can level up. First they're creatures, but then they turn into humanoid badasses, right? They evolve and stuff. And you find them at your Starbucks or whatever. You can gamify it, right?
You basically came up with Pokemon Go.
Yes, absolutely. And they're like, no, it's not gonna work.
It'll never work.
It's not gonna work. That's exactly.
They must be kicking themselves
and
in the ass.
And like they thought like, well, if it's not Pokemon, it wouldn't work. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. It's like as long as it's like that, it's familiar to them. They'll understand this. Oh, this is like Pokemon, but nothing like this exists, because like you can go to real locations and like catch things and whatever.
Yeah.
And like, of course, they didn't go for it because it was like during a time where they had like an open, like a company-wide like game.
Game
Jam.
Mm-hmm.
And so like everyone kind of like got together and kind of having fun, making a game within a week or something, and like pairing with engineers and artists and stuff like that, and we made a whole game. It wasn't the Pokemon Go thing, but like it was using the same kind of Pokemon concept, and it was like a crazy cool like puzzle game. I did like voiceovers in it and everything like that. They announced the game. We called it Monster Breaker, and it made it like sound all Japanese sounding. It was like Monster Breaker. It was like
That's amazing.
yeah.
I want to see that
and,
now.
Yeah, no, it looked great. Like we made these beautiful gems, like a puzzle fighter, you know, and like tore it up. I was impressed. I was like literally impressed. And of course, you know, nothing really came out of all of our game ideas, which everyone had like surprising, decent ideas. They didn't bother.
Why even bother?
Why
doing
even bother?
a fucking game jam?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like
That doesn't surprise me though.
yeah,
for some
and
reason.
like, and they had this kind of attitude, like, oh, you guys don't even know what you're talking about, you know. But all of them, all the founders are like all noobs, you know. Like then doing this whole process of them trying to find a company. What?
No, I think it's still
Founded.
a company.
I don't know.
I think it's still found.
Yeah.
Okay.
You definitely don't find a company.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's all. It was all new to them. They just acted the part, you know.
Yeah.
Like sure they have some experience, but like they're all dudes, like you know, producer type people. And there's one engineer that was part of like the founders or whatever, and like they know what they're doing. They're going for it. And one of them actually became the next like CEO of Telltale, and which is crazy. That ended, and another break happened of unemployment, unemployment magic, and then the next arc was Machine Zone.
Machine Zone.
Enter Machine Zone, stage left.
Yeah. Now was this Machine Zone attempt 1 or 2? Because you were there when it was admired, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that's before Red Robot.
Okay, I was wondering where that like fit in to like the timeline.
I forgot all about it.
But that wasn't like a long run, was it?
It wasn't. It was only
No.
like 3 months. Yeah, it was like a contract.
I see.
Kind of worked. 3 months was wild. Got to see the company before it became its crazy whatever it is today. And like it was just this. You can fit in the room basically this big. You know, everyone worked the company.
It's nuts.
And,
It's nuts to think about it because I saw it when it was already exploding, like skyrocketing in numbers of people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It was crazy.
Enter Machine Zone.
Yeah.
Enter
Oh
Machine
gosh. Yeah.
So I think when you joined, I had been there. How long? How long had I been there? I think a year. I think I'd been there a year already. And you showed up. You and Dennis were our reinforcements.
Wow.
Yeah. You've been there for like a year.
Yeah.
At,
You get there, we're like, welcome.
Oh no!
oh, dude,
get here. Settle in. You don't have time. Just get to work.
Reinforcements are here.
I'll never forget that first week.
Yeah.
I was so lost.
Yeah.
Like in so many different realms because of like I'm like okay, this company obviously is doing well for itself, so
They must know what they're doing.
Yeah, like in my first company, they'll be like, okay, this is one of my first places where it's been around longer than a certain amount of time, and because I feel like I've been part of like startups or whatever, you know. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention Supergiant Games, which is insulting.
It isn't. Yeah, I was wondering when you were gonna mention that.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Well, you got a lot to mention.
Yeah.
Gosh damn
Yeah.
it.
Is it because you were avoiding talking about the Space Princess, or
Maybe.
It wasn't in the story arc.
It was during my like lull in between the Gaia and Red Robot and around the same time working with Udon freelance.
Mhm.
That's also when I think started working on some Magic the Gathering avatars and like it's for their online game. It's like on the PC. It's like no one really knows about it. And and that's a little more ghetto looking, but like you can have like an avatar that actually gives you some kind of stats or something like that. The Space Princess took a gamble and chose to work with a startup company and work on their first game because they're all ex-EA people, and one thing EA is really good at, like better than probably any other company, is inspiring their employees to absolutely leave.
Yes.
And so that's what they did, and like some like writers, some engineers, level designers decided to make a game, and the game was called Bastion. And the Space Princess
Love that game.
That's amazing.
Such a fan of that game.
Oh man. Like they offered Space Princess. First they just wanted to do some like contract stuff or something like that, or like freelance. After like her work, they're like, okay, we want you to come on full time type of thing. But these are just a bunch of dudes just chilling in a room, and they're all unemployed. at this point. They decided to give her a salary, and she was the only one that had a salary, and like they're like all in on this.
Wow.
And she's like, okay. And I saw the game before it was, and it was interesting. No, it was absolute trash. It was absolute trash. Like the main character was like design was like all over the place, and like the artwork that they had before was kind of like very acid trippy and very kind of like it was out there. I know the artist who actually worked on it, ironically, because I worked with them at Red Robot.
Yeah.
Small world.
Well,
But like,
it is.
and I love that guy. Shout out to Tirawat. You're out there somewhere in Thailand. Love that guy. Fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
They're making a game, producing awesome like assets. They're doing what they can with what little manpower that they do have. And a lot of things get overlooked. Little things that you took for granted, right? That makes a game a game.
Right.
And the whole time, like, Space Princess was like, oh man, we need like effects. We need effects. You know, like we have like these animations, blah blah blah, but like it's dry and this and that, and no one seems to like to be respecting this concept. Like, I was just at home. I felt compelled for her plea in a way. I just loaded up After Effects. I'm like, hey, can you send me like a screenshot, you know, like of a thing or whatever, blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, sure. And my plan was just to give her like a mock of sorts, you know. I animated something. And like, I'm like, hey, this is how cool like something can look, you know, when you do, you know, hammer hits the ground or something like that. And this is how important it is, you know, to have this kind of feeling. And and so she showed it to the crew. Immediately they're like, all right, when can you work, you know? and I was like, I'm not an effects artist. I don't know what I'm doing. And like, they're like, well, when can you start though? I'm like,
But kind of, you were always
you
into
did it,
that.
yeah.
I was always into it.
Animation.
That's the thing. Yeah. And like, but
you
I've never done
understand
it. And like, yeah, I had this love for it, and like, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I found myself, you know, at their little house. It's just at like the dude's like his mom's house, and like they're all in the big living room, you know, with like computer desks, and then I hung out, had my own little desk and workstation, and I tried to make the effects. I made the effects in the game.
So cool.
Yeah.
And they're there.
Yeah.
And they're there, right there.
I
right
played
now.
them.
Yeah.
You played them.
I saw them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. That was really cool to be part of like what became like a super awesome, like a successful item for them, a title, which I had zero. I didn't think that was gonna be the case at all. You know, when I played it, I'm like, oh well, I think I actually had a good time as far as like the story and stuff like that was concerned. I was like, wow, you guys did a good job, you know, getting your things across. But I don't think anyone's gonna be in the combat or this and that. It's a little janky because it's like, you know, it's indie, super indie, and at the time, like, you know, I thought only like AAA stuff was like gonna be successful. You know, like you can only make so much money, you know, here, blah blah blah, and like it was actually the perfect time. Obviously, it was the perfect time for indie. Like there's already like people complaining about things being too AAA and you know this and that, and it was all like Call of Duty and this and that, and I was so impressed by like the turnaround and how many people like accepted it. They didn't care about all the jank or the Andre effects, you know. And like they just kind of like they just took it at like at face value. They absorbed like the story or whatever. They got in the music and like you guys.
I mean, that game like stole the hearts when I was in school of all my classmates at San Jose State.
No
Everyone
way.
was looking at that art. Everyone was drawing Bastion stuff. Everyone was like,
No way.
everyone was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to work for something like this. It was definitely, I mean, me included. Me included.
What?
Yes.
Oh man, okay, we definitely got to get
Everyone.
Space Princess up in here then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It restored my humanity in like.
It got me into the whole
in
indie
gaming.
like scene as
yeah.
well. Like
Yeah.
I think it was I got it in like the humble bundle that it came in with like Sword and Sorcery, I think, a few other games, and like at that point it was like a bunch of like amazing indie all at once. And I was like, oh, I'm an indie guy now.
Damn.
I want to be doing this stuff too.
Yeah.
I think I was just like
Yeah.
either at the end or like right at the gate of school. I can't remember when it was. Yeah, it was great. It's a great
That
game.
is so beautiful. That is.
I think I beat it like twice or something. I can't remember.
What?
Yeah.
Gosh, you're amazing, man.
I think there's like 2 endings or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think there is.
Yeah,
You,
so I had to
you,
have
you have
both.
like a choice to make.
Yeah. That's why I
it
did
was
that.
great. It was great. Yeah. And, but yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be enough, but I was pleasantly super wrong and shout outs to Supergiant. They're still doing their thing today, and
Oh yeah.
I'm
I
lucky
can
enough
play
to
Hades.
oh man, yeah. I'm lucky enough to kind of touch in some way all their like the games and like, and of course I'm always there in the beginning because like Space Princess, obviously works on it and like and like she would ask me for whatever I'm thinking, feedback and this and that. Get to see things like I wish I can show you guys some like all these other characters that the main characters would have been, or all these different storylines, stuff like that.
Oh, cool to
It's
see
like
that.
it's super fun and like super creative and like and the princess makes some awesome shit because she's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my Supergiant story for the most part. Kind of summed up. It was great because stepped out of a comfort zone type of thing into something I didn't know, but like I felt like I knew because I was watched it and like certain timings or whatever, and I had to learn the hardest part is the tool, really. It's like I don't know how, I know what I want, but I don't know how to make it happen within this little thing.
Yeah.
And some things like obviously could have been better than others. The amount of like turnaround time and like as far as like me and the program and like the time they want me to do stuff, and delivering it, like me like taking on a whole other profession that like that wasn't mine at all. It felt like serendipitous. It felt random. It felt like it was a lot of fun. It was kind of nerve-wracking because like I didn't want to mess it up for someone else, and like it was something I still wasn't super great at because I was new.
Learning as you did it.
Learning as I did it, yeah. And like there was a grandmaster that I consulted that like now works for them. Oh, okay. And which is a wise choice. He's a very talented individual. His name's Josh Barnett, and he's a freaking robot. He can just make the most professional looking things. But yeah, he's always my go-to guy. I've had questions about like After Effects and stuff like that, and help me out.
Wow.
And
cool.
So yeah. For the most part,
Supergiant.
Supergiant.
Yeah.
And in a nutshell, let's get forward in time back to Machine Zone. I definitely want to go back to Machine Zone.
Back to the future.
Just for a second.
Oh,
just
yeah.
for a second.
Let's go back. Hey, Andre, let's go back.
Craig, let's go back. All right.
This is like the elevator.
Welcome to Machine Zone.
Yeah.
It's the time elevator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or a telephone booth. Yeah, exactly.
There's an elevator at work, and there's just like this inconspicuous red button, and all it says is rewind. And then so I always pretend I'm pressing it, and I'm like, okay, guys, time to go back to the beginning of the day. And then.
And then
That was a good rewind.
I remember that. And then I came up with a thing. I was like, if you could press that button, and you would have to redo that day again. You have to do it again, all the same.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you get paid twice as much for doing the day again.
I'd do that.
How often would you do it?
I would
is
do
my
that
question.
often, I think.
Often?
Really?
Yeah.
That might be tiring. Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm probably.
You would definitely do it, like especially in the beginning. You're like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah,
keep
want
on
the
doing
money, and then
Yeah. I would abuse it at first.
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
you have to have the same conversations. You have to kind of like fake the
I mean,
excitement.
you could
that
vary
you have.
it up, You
But
could even like.
It's almost like fate is locked in. Almost like you'll try to avoid the conversation to have a new one, but it'll get pulled back into the actual conversation.
Yeah. Anyway,
sorry.
Nope.
Sorry, you're not the only one here who does tangents.
Oh man.
I'm great at them.
Anyway, yeah, we pressed that little rewind button.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, to
where are we now?
So like we're at
Machine
Machine
Zone.
Zone, and like I was excited to be at a company that like I thought like knew what they were doing, and because they had
And then you
attained success.
realized
Then I realized
that they didn't.
that like they just freaking forced everything and just like it was just like one of these shapes was not like the other, and they constantly just try to put it in that shape. It's like it's like a square shape into like a round circle, and that's what they asked constantly.
Yes.
And like then it goes, hey, see, it's a circle.
That's exactly.
See, we did it.
It just doesn't look right.
I told you we're gonna do it.
And then it makes
it's all messed up.
so much money.
Yeah. It's
Somehow
just brutal and like painful.
Yeah.
And like just gross, chipped up, and just I guess it's a circle. Yeah. And like I remember week 1 was amazing. Gosh damn, it was amazing.
I can still kind of remember how that went. Yeah.
Because I was more subdued. Obviously, is my first time for being amongst.
Yeah.
I think I knew Alan, but like seeing my first interactions with Spanky. I was offended actually at first. I was offended for both you and Kelly, because like some of his feedback right then and there, you know, with your robots or something, and like
the mechs.
your mechs, and like she had some kind of animal, some kind of thing, and like the thing that came out of his mouth was like Pokemon or something like that. And like it was like the wrongest thing to say at the time, you know, or to an artist if you're trying to make some cool winged tiger thing, and you just called it a Pokemon, you know. And it's like there's so many other ways, other avenues you can use to like convey like a thought about like, or a critique about like that particular piece of art, you know, rather than like demean it or belittle it by calling it like, there's nothing wrong with Pokemon, but that's definitely different style than what was there. Right. And right there I was like, oh, wouldn't have said that, but okay, all right. And like you talked about your mechs that you're making, and like he couldn't even do it. He's like, well, you know, okay. And he tries to like look up mechs, and like he tells you to fucking like Google like mechs or something like that. I'm like, that is so insulting. Let's talk about the art that he drew. You know, and like, cause I saw all your things you made. I thought all of them could be super usable. Like, you can talk about any of them and just iterate on the stuff that you had. Like, you have great base. That's what I thought. I think
I had a ton of thumbnails. I think it was at that point.
Yeah. And like, I think he had some more refined thumbnails, but like, they're simplified for sure. And I'm like, there's a lot of stuff here that you can use. Like, I don't know exactly what he was going for, but like,
me neither. I'll be honest.
But yeah, I feel like he just handled those two moments like completely wrong, and like, that was like
your
my
first taste.
My first like day, you know, and like, oh god, and like I got a little sad, but I'm like, you know what, I don't know how things work yet. I don't know. I can give everything a chance, and because I just came from a company, you know, that, oh wow.
Did you skip something?
I skipped something. I don't know how I'm doing it so well.
Wait, you just skip another company?
I did.
That's really funny.
It's
all right,
okay.
go back in the elevator. How important was that one?
It wasn't that important. No, it is important because I like the CEO guy. But
all right.
Okay.
We'll time you.
It's called LG Dev Shop. Is what it was called. It was founded by an ex-Zynga founder, and so he wanted to make his own thing. And so buddy Alan, which you guys had on, I believe.
Yep.
I forget how they found each other through some kind of online means, you know, some kind of, because Alan put himself out like crazy. He's just a machine.
He is.
And
still is.
Yeah. And then that was during a crazy rough time again of me like going through a plethora of like job interviews. All came like all at once. They always happen, you know, when it rains it pours. And like, but all of the jobs are like kind of like super crap, you know, and I was almost going to land this job that like was going to be the worst. And I was in the city, and I was just gonna cry myself to sleep. And like, I get a call from like Alan, being like, "Hey, dude, this guy will start up a thing. I'm gonna be art director. I want you to be a lead artist. You know, like, you interested? You like pay like this much." I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, I said no to like all the people. I'm like, goodbye. And like pointed at him, and I laughed. And so I started up this place in Los Gatos. It was like an old, like, used to be a dentist office or something like that. And like, we made a game called Darbles.
Darbles?
Yeah.
It's a darbling. Adorable. Like, cut that out.
Adorable.
Yeah.
No,
I tried to make it work.
Yeah. If Mrs. Karanka, if you're listening, just know your son in good hands. And he made a beautiful boy. I tell him that with my eyes every day. I don't know if he gets it. I don't know if he really picks up when I'm putting him down, but he's good. He's a good kid. He's a good kid.
She does listen, you know.
Oh, I know. We're good friends.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's short for digital marbles.
Okay.
And so like, and in theory, the game's actually kind of cool. And like, cause like, it's like a pool meets like the traditional game of marbles, which we all know and love. And
I have played marbles.
And
I have just collected them. I never played them.
Nice.
I was just like, this one's pretty, and I just like.
They are all pretty, actually.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I had a bag of marbles too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And like it's a game where like, well, you put them all in like in a circle. You have like before it was like string or something like that in Ghetto, and like you have like this thicker one marble, and that was your shooter, and then you kind of do this shot with your thumb, and like you try to knock them out, and like usually you play for keeps and stuff like that. It's like a pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
And so you want to make like a mobile version of it, and like I'm like, okay, that can work. And like he wanted to do it with like robots and stuff, and like so it honestly could have worked out if like maybe we had like
a better name.
A better name.
Because Darbles does not make me think of
no.
digital marbles.
Scott, if you ever listen to this, I'm sorry, but like
I'm thinking of like Furbies when I hear Darbles.
I know you love the name, Scott. I know you loved it. I'm sorry. His name's Scott. I love that guy. And so we did what we could. Like me and Alan and I like wore like mini hats because there's only 2 artists.
Yeah.
Just me and him. That's it.
You
and
were
like
art director and lead artist.
Yeah. yeah. And like the rest were engineers, and which honestly is ideal for me. That sounds great. And but like stuff we wanted to do, required like 3D and this and that. And we had to learn like Unity and stuff like that, and like I had to learn all these things. I did all the effects, the animation, the concepts, and learn Unity and stuff like that. And like it was pretty crazy. We had like transforming little robots. Some were better than others, and like it wasn't that bad. You can play. You shoot these balls, and they go in these little laser goals type of thing, and it was multiplayer. You can play with people online. Had all the things, and like it was almost something. It just needed a nice passive. We created like our finished product was almost like a very strong like beta. It really needed a whole new like facelift.
Right.
It needed all the things.
Needed one more pass.
Yeah, one more pass, and like the rollouts could have been better, and like we needed like better this and that, and get like a trailer out there somehow. We paid for like kind of cheaper, a little too cheap maybe. And
I think I remember seeing
it was
that.
a nice run because it was a nice environment, and like everyone was cool. It was very small, and I had a great time. I made friends with like the dude. He's off like sailing somewhere with all his money.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Good for him. And like he tried it, and like if he ever tries anything again, hopefully maybe he'll call me up. But that's that.
Yeah.
Darbles.
All right.
Anything else for MZ?
MZ. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Boop, boop, boop. Welcome back to MZ.
Dude, that was such an adventure. That was
We had adventures. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe
We
like
had
biggest MZ takeaway, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, sure. Biggest takeaway was that
You met Josh.
I met a man, an Argentinian Jewish man with like
Doing like a thing.
compelling eyes and luscious curly hair and some decent guns. And like
Decent.
no, they look
Okay.
pretty good. They look pretty good. And actually, like, his shoulders are coming along too. He's got like a good, like broad shoulder look going into his nice little 12-year-old boy butt. And, like, so it has a nice, decent silhouette. This is nice V, and like it's very difficult. I'm like I have to work really hard on my shoulders. Like I'm looking pathetic right now, but it's not about me.
Oh shush.
And biggest takeaway is, I guess this is true like everywhere. I was just impressed. It was the stamp of approval. Like when I thought there was like hope for certain companies out there, like this is when I found out like everywhere is basically the same. People, in power, there's certain people that are in power should not be in power. And it's just the same everywhere you go, and like I'm so impressed how they get to where they are. And like I didn't understand how that company was successful. Like I knew it was the people in the trenches. It always is, it's always the people like not getting paid as much. They may feel that they are, it's like, wow, this is so much more money than last time I had a job, and especially with artists like we just like oh my gosh, this is incredible. We just freaked the frack out. And
we felt so wealthy there.
Yeah, but they don't
No.
No,
We're still
no.
artists.
And like and like all we do is basically we get paid an okay amount to make someone else a buttload of money. And like it's the same the glue, the same MZ, it's like probably like a prop that one of you guys has painted, made like millions of dollars, and like sure there's a bunch of gears that go into it, but like and like they try to hook you up with cookies in a free lunch. And
yeah, it's a good summary.
But like I really like the bonus of that the $500,000 you made today. That'd be great. But
there was something I did on Game of War that I was told how much like money it made or how much it cost or something like that.
Okay, so
and
where's my cut?
Yeah, I was like, fucking hell, like. Do I get any of that?
Yeah. And then you get your little bonus that they give you, like $2,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
And like,
if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, as if you performed well in their eyes.
Yeah.
And it gets taxed and stuff.
And it gets taxed. And I'm not gonna, at the end of the day, I'm like, well, thank you for the extra thing. And like, I'm always thankful for the money, blah blah blah. And like, but you just get, you get jaded, you get bitter, and like, what I took away definitely with MZs is convinced me that like everywhere it's got to be the same, and that's why I kind of had that small little fight at the very end where I got fired, and there's a moment in time where like I was challenged and I was waiting for it for a whole like year and some change or something, and like it finally happened. I played the game, played the the political game, even though there's a bunch of trash talk going on, like a bunch of like everyone having problems with like people making decisions. You try not to like, I don't know, you try not to be the loud one at the very least. And and Spanky, he hadn't really crossed paths with me, and like whatever he influenced, whatever he did, that so many people had an issue with, or even got fired in their own right, like I hadn't had that, inflicted on me, or like I hadn't, he didn't, like I hadn't tasted it yet, like for the most part, like he did his thing, arms reach away, and like I wanted to battle him, I wanted to fight him, but I had nothing, I couldn't do it, like our projects were too different. He like, come in, say his piece, and peace out, and like we have the answer to our, our art directors or whatever. I was assigned as one of the few artists on the newer game that they're trying to make, and like as one of the concept artists, and like it's one of the cooler things to do, like there at the company.
Everybody wanted to do it.
And
just because it was something different.
Just different. It was like stylistically, and like it was slightly more fulfilling thing to do with your time at work. And so there's a lot more one-on-one time with him, a lot more, in meetings or whatever. And so one day things kind of hit the fan in a small way. It wasn't that huge of a deal, but like I'm glad that like I did what I did.
You said your piece.
I said my piece.
Yeah.
And like, and I felt for all the artists there, even the ones I didn't like even talk to that much or hang out as much. Like we all artists have like in some way or form some kind of camaraderie, like you don't have to like each other to know that like there was some kind of Dragon Ball for you, growing up or something, right?
Right.
Like you have like your art kind of dream. It might be just a super hobby, just really enjoy it or something like that. In either case, like when they're not treated well and or just underutilized, underappreciated, and it really bothers me. Their decisions were affecting like these particular artists who I've grown to like be pretty attached to. I thought all the people there at Machine Zone were actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was a great crew. It was a great cast.
Super great cast. I was really impressed, and like I was very surprised. And for them to be treated that way, like I hit like a limit, and then I got a taste of some of the treatment right at the very end, and then I kind of like fired back a little bit. That's what I kind of took away, is that there's no safe place. And
it's all a battlefield.
Yeah, it's all a battlefield.
And we're just foot soldiers.
Yeah, and like happiness doesn't really exist. And,
okay.
There's only
it's starting to sound like me a little bit.
And there's only like just slightly tolerable like places, and like you kind of pick the lesser of the evils, and hopefully you land in a place where they don't, completely treat you like trash, and like you actually can do something where someone would be like, hey, nice job, or something like that. And that's all it really takes at the end of the day. And someone would be like, oh, dude, nice one, man. Like Thanks. You know, it's like it's super simple. You know, it can be super simple. It doesn't have to be all business. It doesn't have to be all political. And like, yeah, after Machine Zone, a little bit freelance, work with DreamWorks a little bit on an unannounced kind of project, and Supergiant as well. And yeah, right now I'm contracting with you guys.
We needed help,
Yeah.
but I tapped you. I was like, check this guy out.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Now we get to hang out again.
We get to hang out again.
And we get to
in
meet.
the city. Ooh,
Yeah.
We get to meet.
We got to meet.
Yeah.
Got to meet.
So yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, that's my journey.
that's how this world works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like
It goes
kind
around and
of
around and around.
the theme of this episode was kind of like you see certain people and you see certain like titles and studios and they seem like, or they are powerhouses, or like these
Yes.
titles did make a lot of money, and then just in your mind you think like, oh, these people, these companies have it all together. Like they work well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And these artists or whatever don't struggle because they're so amazing, and like they just get jobs because they're so amazing. But like no, I mean everything is hard work.
Yeah.
And
The reality is always it's always more real.
yeah.
It's always human. Everyone's
Yeah.
human. The companies are made and run by humans.
Yes, exactly. That's
That's
a
how
huge one.
this world works.
But
Just
these
like
guys are
everything
just
else.
learning just the same as you.
Yeah.
They have this facade, like they're experienced and like seasoned, but like they're freaking out like everyone else.
Yeah.
And they're in charge sometimes.
Yeah.
And like it's like, oh man, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And,
But there's also a lot of perseverance.
mhm.
Yep,
Mhm.
a lot of bouncing back. And
Yeah.
and also
Absolutely.
like I feel like the theme is lots of good people, like people you work with and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what it's always about the people. It's really important to me.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes everything like run, you know. And
It's almost like the most important part, I think, is the
Mhm.
good people.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone when I was like in my world, my part of my story where I was in flux, not knowing where I'm gonna go in terms of like, oh, I don't know if I want to do like this kind of work or deal with this or whatever. And someone's like, listen, the most important part is the people. If you like the people there, you know, and they pay you enough,
Sure.
that's the best option always.
No, it's very true because when you're in the trenches, like, and you have like you look the left and the right, and you find trustworthy soldiers, you know, going through the same grind, you know, that's what gets you through the day, you know.
Absolutely.
And like at first it's like the money, and some companies are like, you're like I don't understand, we pay them, like what are they complaining about?
Exactly.
You know, but like after like it doesn't even take that long to be like you don't even think about the money, you just think about like how you feel, right?
Yeah.
You just think
Every
about
day.
like how everything sucks.
You don't want to go in.
Yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
to go in, and like so it's important to like not treat the people like mindless or like robots, you know, and company that acknowledges that you're human and like. Especially artists like are pretty horrible. We're very touchy-feely sometimes, very emotional.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And take things to heart. And if you just treat them like people and like leave some of the politics out of it, you know, if you just like, if one person was just slightly honest, you know, like you just feel better and like you're willing to tolerate certain things. And instead of like, you know, keeping things like, oh, you shouldn't say that because like, you know, you might paint the company in a negative way or something like that, you know, or whatever. So I want to just be like, yeah, you know what? I know this is a sucky situation, but like, this is what we got to do. We got to turn this in by like next Monday. And I'm sorry. If someone said that to me, you know, during those like crazy times, instead of like just silence and like just do your work and stay overtime, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
And act all cold about it, then like it's completely 180. You'd be like, all right, you know, I'll do what I can. You know, it sucks, but everyone's here, everyone's, you know, working.
Right.
And sure, just do it. You know.
That was great.
Yeah.
And I feel like
covered a
we
lot of ground.
scratched the surface. I hope we have you back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to come back. Great. This is fun.
Yeah, this was
It's
like
fun because I like your
just an
setup.
overview.
Yeah.
I feel like we could pick any of these topics and really dive in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sounds
Next
good.
time we have Andre on, it'll be a conversation with Andre.
Oh.
This was the story of Andre.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you,
that's another
everyone,
episode.
for listening.
Thank you. And whoever listens to this, I'm sorry, but not really.
No, don't
Actually,
be
I'm not
sorry.
sorry at all.
Don't be sorry at all.
Yeah.
No, you're welcome.
And actually, thank you for coming in
Yeah, thank
and
you, Andre.
Thank you so
and
much
giving
for
us
having me. My
your
gosh.
experiences.
Yeah.
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 Jeez. Yeah. So many now that I forgot about.
Yeah, I mean, you
Crucial
were
ones.
discovering, you were remembering as you were
Yeah.
going. It was
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Kind of, disappointed in myself, but yeah,
Yeah.
a lot going on.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to like.
A storied life, man.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
What a powerhouse.
No, not yet.
Yes, yes,
Oh.
that's what the episode's called.
Oh,
I call him right now.
I'm sorry, Mike Tracy. Mike Tracy, I'm sorry. I'm a fraud.
You're not a fraud.
I'm a fraud.
No.
You're not a fraud.
The journey's still ongoing.
Yes.
Let's go play fighting games.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.